The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. All right. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys are subscribed. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit all of that stuff. The notifications. We are close. We need less than 200 to reach our goal. Less than 200 subscribers away to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. So we right here, we're pushing it, we're making it happen, we're doing it. I'm so very happy. I'm so very proud of every single last one of y'all. We got some good stuff to talk about. All right, let me take a little sip of my tea. I was thinking about this, and I really wanted to talk about it when it first dropped, but I'm glad I waited because we got some more stuff. Another thing about this, some reactions to it. But the Democrats are down bad. All right. So what they're trying to do, because they know the election is next year. They literally know the election is next year. Let's listen to what I'm not exaggerating. I'm not lying or anything. Shout out to everybody in here. I see Hurricane. I see Seven, Tyquin, Maggie, Travis, DSB, One Lee Us. It says On Lee Us. Okay, On Lee Us is in here. Sun Kissed by the Most High. Lawrence, I see you all. I see you all. Reality, I see you. Now, someone, I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. None of that. I got a call today from some number I never got a call from before. They asked me, we want to do a survey about natural gas. And they was like, oh, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Okay, fine. So they said, okay, how likely are you? She said the election, there's going to be elections next year. Federal elections, local elections, national elections, all of that next year. This was the woman on the phone. And how likely are you to vote in those elections? I said, interesting question. How likely am I to vote? I said, you know what? I asked, was it like from 1 to 10? Or she was all like from no, maybe, or yes. Like, I'm all like, well, I would say in between the no and the maybe. How about we'll do it? Because you never want to show your hand. Don't show your hand. So I'm like, in between the no and the maybe. If something happens that might sway me, I can be swayed. You always want to make it, your vote is for sale. Your vote is for sale. Let people know all the time. Oh, my vote can be bought. It's not an automatic no. You can buy it. If you pay the price, you can buy my vote. So I'm not... It's leaning on a no, but if you tell me something nice and, maybe, I don't know. And then they were all like, oh, okay, well, thank you for this call. And I was like, hold on. I stopped her. I was like, man, what did that have to do with natural gas? You asked me about my voting, if I was going to vote or not. That don't got nothing to do with natural gas. Why are you asking me about that when you said it was about natural gas? So she was all like, oh, I just had the follow-up questions, and if you were going to vote, and we were going to see if, certain candidates are pushing for natural gas and everything like that, but you're saying that you're, maybe not going to vote. So it's like, that's it. I'm like, oh, I said, all right, cool. I said, cool. So this, you think they call me about natural gas? Let me turn my phone on silent. I laughed when the phone call was over with. I laughed. I'm like, you think they call me about some natural gas? They didn't call me about no natural gas asking how likely are you to vote. That's what they called me for. But they know they didn't want to open up with that. Oh, but they're worried. They're very worried out here. They're very, very worried because things aren't looking good for the Democratic Party. So we have this from Kathy Hoku. She has signed legislation for a reparations committee in New York. We're going to look into this. This is an article right before she signed it, so it's going to seem a little outdated. But just keep in mind, she has signed the bill. It's right here. All right, hold on. Bigger, make it bigger. All right. Oh, let me scroll all the way up to the top. My bad, y'all. So it says here, New York lawmakers passed bill that considers reparations for slavery. It is a consideration. It is not a guarantee. It's not a promise. It is a consideration for reparations. It's not really even that. It's a study to consider reparations. Now, let's go into it. It says, New York would create a commission to consider reparations to address the lingering negative effects of slavery under a bill passed by the state legislature on Thursday. Quote, we want to make sure we are looking at slavery and its legacies, said State Assemblywoman Maggie Solage before the floor debate, because there was a debate about this. Then it says, this is about beginning the process of healing our communities. There still is generational trauma that people are experiencing. This is just one step forward. Says this. Hold on, let me turn my brightness on my laptop up. The state assembly passed a bill about 3 hours after spirited debate on Thursday. The state Senate passed the measure hours before, and the bill will be sent to the New York governor, Kathy Hoku. That's the woman you see on the thumbnail, Kathy Hoku, for consideration. So you guys know this was prior to Kathy Hoku actually signing the bill. So Kathy Hoku has actually signed the bill. She did a whole press conference thing about it, and we're going to go into that as well too. Shout out to everybody in here. We only been here for a couple minutes, and we got almost 100 people in here. You all, please make sure you guys hit this like button. Hit that thumbs up button. It says, New York is following the lead of California, which became the first state to form a reparations task force in 2020. That group recommended a formal apology from the state on its legacy of racism and discriminatory policies, and the creation of an agency to provide a wide array of services for Black residents. They did not recommend specific payment amounts for reparations. That is a problem, because they were sitting up there. Even with California, there was some good, there was some bad. Some of them in California was up there stalling and playing games. There was some brothers and sisters who was standing on business though, but some of them was playing games. So we ain't gonna give them that much credit. It says, the New York legislation would create a commission that would examine the extent to which the federal and state government supported the institution of slavery. It would also address present economic, political, and educational disparities experienced by Black people in the state today. According to the New York bill, the first enslaved Africans arrived at the southern tip of Manhattan Island when the Dutch settled around the 1620s and helped build the infrastructure of New York City. While the state legislature enacted a statute that gave freedom to the enslaved Africans in New York in 1817, it wasn't implemented until 10 years later. So that means it pretty much wasn't there until 1820. All right. So let's be real with that. But that's still hundreds of years. That's still hundreds of years. That's 200 years. Okay. Of that. So let's not act like New York. And this is something I've been making sure that we put on blast. New York was not kind to black people at all. New York was not any less racist. People want to make it seem like New York was some type of safe haven for black folks. It wasn't. It wasn't. Even after they got rid of slavery, it was still a bunch of racism. It was still Jim Crow. And I'm not going to divert too much off of this, but you guys know that during the Civil War, that the New York riots was started because of anti-black racism. The New York riots was started because there were people, because that's during the days of the draft, and they have drafted residents of New York to come and fight in the Civil War. And they said, you know what, instead of that, I'm just going to start attacking and offing any black person I see. So they just started randomly, the white folks up there just started randomly attacking black people in New York. That's what the New York riots was about. Shout out to our good brother Torian Rain, because Torian, when he did his Black Massacre series, he breaks that down very well. So salute to Torian for that. So let's not sit up here and act like New York wasn't about that, about racism, anti-black racism, because it was. Now, okay. Continues to say, quote, I'm concerned we're opening a door that was closed in New York State almost 200 years ago, said Republican State Assembly member Annie Goodall during floor debates on the bill. Goodall, who voted against the bill, said he supports existing efforts to bring equal opportunity to all, and would like to, quote, continue on the path rather than focus on reparations. And no. This is why we say reparations is a debt. You can't fix nothing without paying the debt back. You owe that debt. That debt's not going to go away. No matter what programs or anything. No. But it's always going to be opposition. It's always going to be that. And I'm going to be very honest with you. When they say, oh, well, I support equal opportunity, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Even if there was no wealth gap, if there was absolutely no wealth gap in America, if there wasn't a tiny little bit of racism in this country, if it was all gone and everything was 100% fair across the board, there is no racial disparities in health, education, economics, policy, there's no disparity at all, they would still owe reparations. They would still owe reparations. Reparations is not there because there's a problem. Reparations is there because there's a debt. Now, the debt, if it's paid, will help fix the problem, but it's not there because it's a problem. Because what they want to do is they want to say, oh, well, reparations is there because it's a problem, but reparations isn't the only way to fix the problem. Oh, no. We're getting reparations regardless of what you guys think the problem is. Now, when we get the reparations, we can use that to fix the problem, or y'all can do something else as with the reparations, but the reparations is not an option. That's the taking it off the table, I mean, is not an option. That's not an option. All right. Then it says, in California, the Reparations Task Force said in their report that the state is estimated to be responsible for more than $500 billion due to decades of over-policing, mass incarceration, and redlining that kept Black families from receiving loans and living in certain neighborhoods. California's state budget last year was $308 billion. Reparations in New York could also come with a hefty price tag. Look, listen, y'all better find a way. That's all that matters. Y'all find a way. All that, well, our state budgets will ask for more money. Ask for more money then, because it's very interesting how you guys have all of these people coming into the United States illegally, And that never seems to damage the state budget. It's always, well, we got more, we got more, we got enough, we got enough, we got enough. You always have enough when it's non-black people, when they're non-black people, when you guys were doing different stimulus checks with the pandemic and everything like that. There's always enough, but it's only budget cuts and it's only checks and balances and things like that when it comes to black people. Only when it comes to black people do people break out the checkbook and be all like, nah, I mean, you see, we really didn't make that much money this year, and maybe in a couple of years or something when the economy kind of changes. We're going through inflation right now. It's only that when it comes to reparations. Find a way. Find a way. I don't care if you got to ask the federal government for it. I don't. Hey, do some fundraising. Find a way. Shout out to the Cash App from Jerry. Shout out to Jerry for the Cash App. Appreciate you. Continuing. It says the commission would be required to deliver a report 1 year after their first meeting. Their recommendations, keep in mind, keep the words in mind. Their recommendations, which could potentially include monetary compensation for black people, would be non-binding. It would be non-binding. So you guys know what non-binding means is that it does not have to be obeyed according to the law. Non-binding means that it really has no teeth to it at all. That means they could come up with all of this stuff. The commission could do all of the studies they want to do. They could do all of the research. They can make all of the recommendations. And the state does not have to abide by any of that. That means all of this, and the state could just say, no. And they have no responsibility. When they say this is non-binding, a lot of people might have missed that because they wrote it, they hid it in the article. It's non-binding, which means literally they can take all day doing their studies and whatnot, and then come up with something, even if it's not a check. Whatever they come up with, the state can be like, nah, pass. Nah, we're cool. Never mind. They can legally do that. That's what it means to be non-binding. So this is just a ploy, essentially, because it has no teeth to it. There's nothing to enforce this. Now, continuing to say, the legislation would not be required to take the recommendations up for a vote. All right. That's what they're saying. So this thing that she passed, that everybody's sitting up there acting like it's a really, really big deal, is really nothing. It's saying New York Assembly Speaker Carl Hatesy, who is the first black person, Carl Hatesy, who was the first black person to hold the position, called the legislation, quote, historic. It was historic to him. All right. It says, Heatsy, sorry. I think I mispronounced it before. Heatsy, along with the governor and legislative leader in the state senate, would each appoint 3 qualified members to the commission. Okay. So that means that they get to cherry pick the people who are doing the study. So they're cherry pick this. It's not like the commission has been assembled yet. What they're saying is that all they're going to do is agree to go about it. So that means is that Heatsy, the governor, which is Kathy Hoku, and the legislative leader would then pick 3 of each, because it would be a total of 9 members. 3 of each is what they're saying. And then they would do the study. And then whatever they come up with, the state could say yes or no. They don't have any type of responsibility, any type of legal responsibility to uphold any of that. All right. It says the other state legislators that have considered studying reparations include New Jersey and Vermont, but none have yet passed legislation. A Chicago suburb in Evanston, Illinois, became the first city to make reparations available to Black residents through a $10 million housing project in 2021. If I take a pause to sip my tea, y'all just bear with me. I'm coming over like a small sore throat. I'm like 90% better. So sometimes I have to pause to sip my tea a little bit. Now, we've discussed the Evanston reparations thing. We've already broke that down. That's not reparations. Why it's not reparations is because the fact that, first off, that's a very small amount of money. But the thing is that it's not reparations because they cannot use it for what they want to use it for. That's why they were like, hey, can we use this for something else? They've been making, now Evanston is trying to do a thing where, oh, like, okay, we're going to have to give them cash. Now they're sitting up there fighting about getting cash payments because that's the only true reparations. They want to talk about true reparations. Cash payments is first. Cash first. Cash first. All right? Money in hand. That's what reparations is. Not no housing grant. Not a housing program. Not a school program. Not in free education. Credit card debt relief. None of that are reparations. None of that. All right. It says, on the federal level, a decades-old proposal to create a commission studying reparations has stalled in Congress. Some critics of reparations by states say that while the idea is well-intended, it can be misguided. All right. Okay. It says, William Darity, a professor of public policy and African American studies at Duke University, said even calling them reparations is quote preposterous, since it's virtually impossible for states to meet the potentially hefty payouts. He said the federal government has the financial capacity to pay true reparations and that they should be the ones responsible. Quote, my deeper fear with all of these piecemeal projects is that they actually will be a block against federal action because there will be a number of people who will say there's no need for a federal program, Darity said. If you end up settling for state and local initiatives, you settle for much less than what is owed. Now, let me get this off the screen real fast. Let's talk about that for a little second, because I know that is kind of like a little debate among certain people where they're like, okay, well, hold on, if we go for the state, then we can't go for the federal. So let's go for the federal because the federal has the money. If we go with the state is going to lowball us. So let's go for the federal. Let's ignore state-based reparations. Now, and to a degree, I understand where that is coming from. We do know the federal government owes us money. All right. So I get that. I get that. Now, here's the thing, though. The state government and the city governments also owe us money, too, because not only did slavery fuel the national economy, the federal economy, not only that, it also fueled the city's economy. It also fueled the state's economy. All of these things are owed. Okay. Now, when people are like, well, if you go with the state, you can't go for federal because then everybody will say, well, you already got your reparations. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with that. You got a whole bunch of asylum seekers, what they call them. You have a whole bunch of illegal immigrants, foreign invaders coming over here, and they're getting money from the state. They're also getting money from the city, and they're getting money from the federal government. All three forms of government is paying for them. All of them are. So we're not going to play this game where, we can only get money from one part of the government. That's what they tell us. They tell us, well, if you go with the state or if you go with the city, you can't. Don't even think about going with the federal government because you already got it from the state and the city. Well, okay. Well, you all set the precedent, since y'all want to be so big on precedents. You all set the precedent that foreigners can come over here illegally and they get money from the federal government, but even though they get money from the federal government, that doesn't stop them from also receiving money from the state government and from the city government, the local government. So we're not gonna play that game. We not gonna play that game because slavery empowered economically not just the federal government. So the federal government does owe, but it shouldn't only be the federal government that pays anything. Because if we're gonna be honest, even though the federal government could pay more than the state and the city government, they would lowball us because we are owed money from all of them. So let's be very, very clear with that. All right. We don't have to do that. We gotta, when it comes to reparations, we really need to stop with this scarcity mindset. We got to stop with the scarcity mindset that there's only really one way to win and we got to do this. And if we do this, then they'll tell us no. No, they are, first off, the federal government, the same people who, let's really dial this back, right? Let's really dial this back. The same people who, if we got money from the state and local government, says you already got your reparations, so you shouldn't be asking the federal government for reparations. Those are the same people saying we already got reparations now. It's not like getting state reparations is going to increase people's disapproval. Most of white America already disapproves. So all of them are already saying no any damn way. So you're doing something because you don't want people to say no, but they're already saying no. They're already saying no. So if they go say no, you might as well go for the bag. You might as well shoot for the stars at that point. You might as well try to aim for the bullseye. That scarcity mindset got to stop. So we have let me see. So Kathy Hoku was on this thing. Let me play this. Hold on. Let me show you this. But before we do, y'all know we got to be safe here. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. So this was long. This was a very long thing. It's over an hour. It's close to an hour and a half. So we're definitely not going to be playing the whole thing. But Kathy Hoku, she's getting up here. She's giving a speech about, reparation or how much we're progressing with the thing. And that's why I read the article beforehand to show you guys. First off, it's a study. Is only the commission of a study. That is all it is. It's not getting reparations. She didn't sign a reparations bill. She's signing a study to examine the harm that was done and then come up with recommendations. It's not a study to say how much do we owe. That's not the study. The study is to say, okay, well, what has been done? So let's get into it. Okay. Now, I want you to keep in mind, she's saying this is about slavery, but when you listen to her speak, she says black and brown more than a couple times. More than a couple times, the word black and brown has come up. Listen to this.
Reparations by racism and disenfranchisement. Millions of people, even though free on a piece of paper, were still trapped by Jim Crow, stripped of their rights, even including the right to participate in our democracy, the right to vote. and others were stalked by death by men in white robes, the Klan and the lynch mob. It didn't stop in the early days. Redlining, housing discrimination, segregation, economic oppression, all were designed to keep Black and brown Americans from reaching that first rung.
Oh, hold on. Black and brown? Black and who? Black and brown? No, ain't no black and brown, no. You see, she already kind of, now if she's saying black and brown now, who do you think she's going to start picking when it's time to actually select people for the commission? Black and brown? But she doesn't just stop there. It's not a slip of the tongue either, because she says it again a couple other times. All right, let me fast forward it. And a few minutes after she said black and brown the first time, she says it again.
They just did the hard work. They didn't get a union card like Grandpa did that lifted us into better circumstances. He could work with his hands, work hard. They didn't get the union card and a paycheck. They got shackles and a lash. And while New York does have an incredible legacy as a cradle of freedom, if we brought all those who are on this journey, the early abolitionists and the people who fought and civil rights act, whether they were black or white, we all brought them to today in 2023, almost 2024, what would they see today? Black and brown Americans in segregated cities, sometimes choked with.
Okay, no, you're starting to see what Kathy really about. That's black and brown again. She said black and brown again. That's not what we own. That's not what we own. Then she goes again. She says it again. Now you can already tell what her mindset is going to really be about, because it's not going to be reparations. They talk about what reparations is. It's not going to be reparations unless it's strictly lineage based. It has to strictly, exclusively, only be lineage based. Anything else is not going to work.
To good paying jobs and help them lift themselves up. That's what we're talking about. That's an investment in all of us. Because when these individuals have a chance to survive, black and brown communities have the same chances as the white communities. That's what
she said. When black and brown communities have the same chances as the white communities. When black, see, no, you can already tell the energy she's on. She's playing the black and brown, and no, this is about reparations. Why are you bringing up another community? Anytime we talk about another community and their issues or whatever the case is, nobody ever shoehorns black people in anybody else's issues, no matter how close. Actually, our issues would be closely more tied, and we have a closer grievance to what they got going on. Like, for instance, when they talk to the Native Americans, the red Native Americans, they don't talk about no black people too. They do not bring up black folk at all. Foundational Black Americans, they don't bring them up whatsoever at all. But now when we talk about this, now they're sitting up there talking about, well, come on now, we gotta the black and the brown and the black and the brown and the black. That's 3 times. So you can already tell what type of page she's on. All right. You already know that, because, and I tried to look it up. You can't even see what the bill says. You can't. So when it comes out, it's going to be it's going to have people of color, disenfranchised communities, black and brown, people in rural areas. It's going to be a bunch of that. It's going to be a bunch of that. All right. Now, that wasn't the only nonsense that went on. Okay. You also had some other folk who was, talking about how justice is not just a check. All right. Listen to this.
I want to get up here and speak from what the heart told me to speak to today. So there's a lot of things that I do feel and I want to say. You know, still to this day, when I get introduced, people will introduce me as the first African American who's had this position of being speaker. And I often tell people it's a great footnote in history, but if that's the only way that I'm going to be remembered when I'm done, then I would not have fulfilled, I'd say, the mission. And today's bill signing is one of those missions that I feel was my calling when my colleagues gave me the privilege of being speaker in 2015. Almost 9 years ago, they gave me that privilege. And to be here, to understanding, because I'm not sure people really understand the true history of slavery. And sometimes people think it ended in 1865 and there was nothing else, and we just fast forwarded today and everybody's equal. But that's not the case, at all. When you look at slavery and its contributions to today's criminal justice system, to all of the inequities that we heard the governor and the great Reverend Al Sharpton and the majority leader speak out, these are structural things that have affected us and have put us behind. And so to have this conversation, like I said, in my conversations, and I'm gonna thank this great governor, this is not just about who we're gonna write a check to and what the amount is. It begins the conversation of one recognizing the issues that affected Black people and descendants of slaves in this state. In New York,
man, no. Now you peep out what they always bring up. Their tactic is to bring up, man, we got so many disparities. We have so much injustice. We have redlining, police brutality. We have low economic opportunity. We have disenfranchised schools. They bring up all of these things that Black folk, hold on. They bring up all of these things that Black folk have gone through, and then they'd be all like, but we need more than just a check, and who we're going to write it to. No, that's the conversation. What this does is this opens the door for the conversation so we can express how hurt we were. No. Listen, let me tell you, this is the same ploy that they used when they were doing the same thing with South Africa. When they were doing the same thing with South Africa with the apartheid, right? And the Truth and Reconciliation Act, right? What they did was they had a whole bunch of people come to a stand. It was broadcast. It was televised. They were talking about how slavery has hurt them, or not slavery, how apartheid has hurt them, how it's affected their families, affected their life. And it gave a lot of those people, those South Africans, a chance to vent. And they vented. And everything was like, oh my God, we see your pain. We recognize it. I didn't know hitting you upside the head with the baton is going to hurt so bad. But now I understand. I'm sorry, Negro. And they apologized, and then they didn't do anything. We're not going to fall for the same ploy that you and finesse that you guys did with South Africa, with the apartheid. We don't need an apology, be damned. A conversation, be damned. What they're doing is, this is going to be our time for them to truly recognize how much slavery has been affected, how much slavery affects us, and how much slavery damages us still to this. No, be damned. No. We don't need nobody to recognize anything. When these foreign nationals come over here, these illegal foreign nationals come over here, you don't need a commission for us to recognize the harms that they've been through before you give them money. They get to come over here and they just get money off rip. They get money off rip. So there's no need for us to have a damn study so we can talk about our pain, so we can all collectively agree, like, hey, haven't these people been harmed? Let's have this conversation, discussion. They are doing that because they know, too bad. And this goes into our history, and this is something that we've been changing. Too bad Black people just want to talk. Black people just want to vent. That has been a bad habit of ours, where if we get something off our chest, we kind of simmer down. We get placated. We get pacified if we just get something off our chest. If we just have the conversation. Conversation time is over with. That's been over with. All right? This man's talking about, oh, it opens the door for a conversation. A conversation for what? We're going to get into that a little bit later. But no, we don't need a conversation because the immigrants, these asylum seekers that you guys are calling, they don't need a conversation. We don't need a conversation. Nobody, y'all be giving money to any and everybody just because y'all say y'all want to. Y'all don't need a conversation for the American public to agree on the harm and to agree to sign stuff off. No. All right. But there was something else that was said. Hold on. Let me fast forward it a little bit. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? It's about right here.
About I have 9 stitches in my head from 3 incidents where I just didn't know my place. And I still don't know my place, but I don't want any more. I mean, who do you thank at a time like this? Of course, you'd have to thank God, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank my governor, my governor. And Governor, let me tell you this, I will be wherever you need me to go so I can speak to people and tell them what was done here. To our majority leaders, Andrew Stewart Cousins, who has corrected me more ways than I can count, to our Assembly Speaker, to all of my colleagues and everyone up here today. If I don't name you, forgive me. I would be remiss if I did not say that I'm here because my sharecropper father and my domestic.
Hold on, listen. He about to say it yet. He about to say it. Now he said his sharecropper father, right? He's about to say it now.
Mother, we fled a tyranny. We fled a terror. We fled an unjust government that was working on terrorism. And I am an immigrant. I'm the first generation. We fled the South. We fled all of those folk who were doing horrible things to us. I feel good when I saw Frederick Douglass downstairs guarding us. This
man said, we fled this, we fled that, we fled the South. Listen, I'm gonna get off of this. This is why I made this. This is why, hold on, where is it? This is why I came up with this list right here. This, I'm gonna even move my logo off for a second. This is the list that disproves all of that. I made a video, everybody loved it. The broadcast I made where I was talking about how the Great Migration, because what he was referring to was really the Great Migration. And I was saying the Great Migration is not fleeing. We are not immigrants. See, listen to some of the things that they say. What they're saying in this speech, they just signed the bill. And if they're talking like this now, you can already imagine how many, what type of trick bag language is going to be in this bill. They're talking about, you know, black and brown, black and brown, black and brown. Well, reparations ain't just a check. What we need to do is we really need to have the conversation. And once we have that conversation, everybody can realize how hurt we are and how much in pain we are. That's what they're saying. Then they're talking about, well, I'm an immigrant. First of all, why was that even necessary to say? You got to think about it. Think about it. Why was that even necessary to say that you're an immigrant? Why would he say that? That had nothing to do with what he followed it up with. He just wants to say, I'm an immigrant, because what we've been doing, if we've been identifying as the only non-immigrants in this country, which is true. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, the Great Migration, that count? That's the same thing, that count. And I made this list because I knew this was the talking point that came from the higher ups, that they're trying to flip the Great Migration into making it seem like it was fleeing. So briefly, we're going to name the points. Point number 1, slavery built the entire country, not just the South. So we had a right to go anywhere we wanted to. Slavery didn't build a different government. Slavery didn't just build Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas. Slavery didn't just build those places. Slavery built everywhere. There's not a single place you can go to in America that was really not found. You cannot root its foundations to slavery. All right. Number two, the Great Migration was under the U.S. government, where he said, yeah, we fled this government. Y'all hear him? We fled the government. You fled the government to go to the same government. Whenever his family went from the South, wherever he was from, went from the South up to a northern state, the president who was the president when they were in the South was the same president when they went to the North. It's the same government. You went across some states. It's the same country. It's the same government. It's under the same constitution. So that don't count. Number three, it says the purpose was for economic opportunities, not to escape racism. This man said we escaped the tyranny. You didn't escape no damn tyranny. This dude literally talked about, and that's why I went back before he was talking about, man, I got stitches in my head because I don't know my place. Well, I thought you said you fled to the north. I thought you said you fled to the north. Well, why did they give you stitches then? If your family, because he said his parents, so it's not like he fled, but he said his parents fled to the north. So if his parents fled to the north, where'd you get the stitches from? You went back down south for a family vacation and then they gave you stitches, but you went up north for paradise? No, you was getting stitches across your head, whether you was in the north or in the south. He opened it up with saying, I got stitches in my head because I don't know my place. That was happening in the north. Race riots and battles and stuff like that were happening in the north just as well as they were happening in the south. All right. Then point number 4 says the Great Migration was beneficial to the whole country, to the country. It was. That's a fact. Nobody's really going to argue with that. It was. They needed it. It was a job shortage at the time. That's what the cause was. Because it's all like, okay, I mean, if we got to face the system of white supremacy, we might as well face it and have a better job. It's not like we're trying to go be citizens of another government. We're not abandoning our country. The country's still the same. That's like if you say moving, if you move, you get a job and you move to another neighborhood because it's a closer commute to your job, that don't count as a migration. That don't count as a migration if you move up the damn street. Another one, there was no aid given in the Great Migration. No, none. We had to get it how we lived. We had to make it on our own. We didn't have any sort of assistance, any sort of aid, nothing. It was only us looking out for each other. That's what it was. So what he's saying is a bunch of lies. But it was real random. A lot of people were thinking like, that's kind of random. It was random, but it was deliberate. He did that deliberately because they want to plant the seeds so they can come up later by saying, hold on, we all immigrants now. We're all immigrants, aren't we? I'm an immigrant. You're an immigrant. I came from the Great Migration. You came from, I don't know, Kenya. So, I mean, we're all immigrants. That's the thing. That's the plan. So we got to look. So based off of how some of those, and there was some more stuff, but based off of how some of that stuff and that speech went, you can already tell this commission is going to be nothing. It's a nothing burger. All right. But I want to play this. It's another thing. Let me get this off the screen and share this as well too. Hold on. No, not that one. This. I already played the copyright thing, so we should be good. This was a conversation that was had afterwards.
I challenge all New Yorkers to be the patriots and rebuke and not excuse our role in benefiting from the institution of slavery.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul signing legislation that will create a commission to study reparations for descendants of slaves. The 9-member commission will study the link between historical racism and current disparities in New York's housing and income. And based on the research, they will make non-binding recommendations on reparation payments. Supporters of this bill say that a racial wealth gap persists today, with the report by the New York Comptroller stating that white families have a median net worth nearly 15 times those of Black families. I want to bring back our panel here, Mike, John, Christina, and LZ. And Mike, let's talk a little bit more about this poll here to start us off. It's from the Pew Research Center. And this poll, Mike, states that 77% of Black Americans support reparations for descendants of enslaved people, while only 18% of white Americans support that. How does the difference there impact
just
a rollout for these reparations?
Just keep this in mind. That poll they're discussing right now with the 18% versus 77%, that's national. That's not just New York, that's national. Okay.
If any at all.
Yeah, really great question for a really interesting poll. And I think the thing
I hate to know of, I don't even know how to say this. I don't know how to say this, but I'm just gonna be honest. The guy he got a lot of little moisture in his kind of tone. No diss. I ain't trying to be respectful of live your life. I just couldn't help but notice. It's got a little bit of moisture to it, a little bit of sweetness to it. Just can't help but notice. Let's start it over. Maybe he not. Maybe he just I don't know. Maybe he's just not trying to come off like intimidating or heterosexual. I don't know.
Percent of white Americans support that. How does the difference there impact a rollout for these reparations, if any at all?
Yeah, really great question for a really interesting poll. And I think the thing we most focus on is that what they have commissioned is a study. There just hasn't been enough education around the institutional racism that exists that happened due to slavery. Once a study is done in a really broad base, then we can begin to educate the American public on the impact of slavery to this day. And then I think you will start to see the polls begin to decrease in that numbers, the gap that you see there. You see it all the way through Canada, even in the situation of the GI Bill. When soldiers came over from fighting for the war, GI Bill allowed them for mortgages and free college, but because of racism, they couldn't get into schools and they couldn't get the bank loans that are there. Even to present day with congestion pricing in New York City, that's going to have a huge impact on environmental justice as cars get rerouted into the outer boroughs, as well as charging low-income workers. So even to present day, we're still seeing the injustices.
Okay. No. We don't, because what he's saying is that when we start to have the conversation and we start to really study how slavery still affects Black people today and really the country today, the poll numbers from white people disliking slavery or disapproving of reparations, because they don't dislike it. White folks' disapproval of reparations, that number is not going to be as high. Because a lot of what he said is that a lot of people just don't know. Listen, we're not going to play that game. We're not going to play that game. We're not going to play the game of, well, when we educate people on reparations, then they're going to agree to it. The thing is that there's just so many ignorant white folks out there who just don't want it because they're ignorant. They're not racist. They're ignorant. No, we don't need no study. We don't need to reparations. And we got to call this out. Reparations is not something that we got to sway people into. We got to convince the national public. That's what he just said. Well, we can convince the general public. Who give a damn what the general public thinks? Who give a damn what they think? First of all, they know. We're going to have to really, really stop with the whole they don't know. Folks don't know. There's not a single person, not a single able-bodied adult who doesn't understand that this country was built off of slavery. Anybody who's saying anything other than that is lying. That's just what it is. It's a lie. They all know that. Nobody sit up there like, what? Slavery? What? I had no idea. I mean, I knew I heard rumors that it happened, but I just had no. It's true. Wow, can't believe it. I just never knew it was true. Nobody is saying that. No, everybody knows. We playing this game like folks don't know that reparations are owed. Folks don't know that this country was built off of slaves, off of the enslaved black folks here, foundational black Americans. Folks know that. And white folks know that. They're saying no because they say no to everything that benefits black people. It's not due to a lack of education, and having a general conversation about it is not necessary. There's been so many studies on police brutality. There's been so many studies on unemployment in the black community, job disparities, housing disparities, education disparities, health disparities. There's been so many studies on that, and that still does not sway any polls into how they think. All right. So this is not going to sway the poll. That's not what we need to have as a conversation. And no, we don't. No, we do not.
All right. So you think that essentially once this report comes out that poll might look a little bit different?
I'm not saying to make it look different, but the part that's missing is that the American public hasn't been educated holistically enough on the impacts of slavery.
Man, no. First of all, most importantly, who give a damn? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It doesn't matter what they think. Because nobody is talking about the general public needs to be educated on Israel. The general public needs to be educated on it. Nope, America's still giving them money. They don't care what the general public thinks about it. There's not a single vote on what the general public thinks about it. There's not a single committee that studies, that educates the general public on Native Americans. Y'all still giving them stuff. There's not a single, they didn't need to do that with the Japanese. Y'all still gave them reparations. They didn't need to do that when it comes to these illegals coming over here right now from the south of the border. Y'all still giving them money. Anything they want to do, they do. The public opinion be damned. It's only when it comes to reparation that, hold on now, because we don't want to offend Robert across the street. We don't want to offend Robert across the street. So we all have to agree, white people have to give the thumbs up. White mommy and white daddy, they got to give the thumbs up for us to get our money. So hold on, let's try to negotiate and talk to them and see if we can sway their opinion. No, listen, y'all. Take this off the screen for a minute. That's literally like somebody owing you money. Let's say you owe a bank. Let's say you owe a bank some money, and the bank tries to negotiate with you, or even and tell you, sir, we need to educate you on the reason why we need our money back, because it's so harmful out here for us. It's harmful out here. So we need our money. We really need our money back. So let me show you the statistics of why we need our money back. And hopefully that might change your mind and you can pay us. No, it's a debt that's owed. You don't have to know why. You don't have to understand. They don't need the American public to understand when they do anything else. So they don't need to understand when it comes to reparations. They don't need that. It's a waste of time. But let's continue.
Got it. And John, let's take that to you here. New York is just the latest state, by the way, to introduce reparations legislation following New Jersey, California. You were a former congressman for the state of New York. What do you make of the step by the governor here?
Well, listen, I have no problem with it. I applaud what she's doing to raise the issue. And those poll results are stunning. And quite frankly, I saw it every day as a federal prosecutor. So there's no question there's a disparity in socioeconomic opportunities. And then I live in a city in Syracuse that has some of the most severe poverty in the United States. And there's no question about that this should be studied. Here's the key. First of all, it's non-binding, so that troubles me a little bit. But I think the most important thing is make the commission balanced, make it for people across the spectrum, come up with good, credible fact-based recommendations, and then sell it to the public. And I think you'll see.
No. First off, I don't even like the fact that I don't know who this dude is or what he's doing. Why are they asking this white man what he think? Anyway, let's be real. Why? Just why? And he's talking about, notice what he's saying. Let me slow it. Let me go back so we don't miss anything. Let me go back to what he's saying.
Across the spectrum, come up with good, credible, balanced, make it for people across the spectrum. Come up with
now peep that. He said, make it about people across the spectrum. That means don't only have FBA on there. Have more than just make it. That's why he's saying that. Oh, don't have white folks on there. Don't just have it full of those blacks. Don't just have it full of them, or FBA especially. Make it what he called across the spectrum. That's why he's saying that. The spectrum of what? Because only one group of people are owed any money. So what is the need to have it to be across the? Why is that necessary? Oh, if it's only for a study, because what he's saying is, oh, hold on, you got to make it across the spectrum, because he knows other non-FBAs are going to be in there throwing little monkey wrenches and sabotaging and poking holes in the wheels so that it doesn't get to its destination. So just keep that in mind. Then he says something else.
Good, credible, fact-based recommendations, and then sell it to the public.
He said good, credible, fact-based recommendations. Okay. So what he's saying is a make and then sell it to the people. So make it something plausible that white people will agree to. Let me get to the super chat, because it was a super chat I missed. Let me get to that. So he's saying make it something white folks will agree to. Make it something white people will agree to, is what he's saying. Get to the super chat. All right. Shout out to Charles Prince for the $20 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. He says, keep up the good work, bro. The FBA family appreciates everything you do for us. Well, I appreciate the FBA family. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And shout out to Walter Wilborn for the $8 super chat. I appreciate you, Walter. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Now, let's get back to it.
And I think you'll see those polls change.
And on that non-binding note, Christina, we saw California go through this process. They came to a conclusion, and then there's been no action by the state legislature since that report came out. So what do you think this new commission needs to do if they want their recommendations to be acted on?
Look, you know what Mike talked about in the beginning, that there needs to be education of the American public. We are at the beginning of a movement where our country has to wrestle with the fact that we are still very much having to dismantle this vestiges of slavery and how it impacts Black Americans. It has limited their possibilities, their potential, and that means it's limited the American dreams, possibilities, and potential. Look, enslaved Americans made trillions of dollars in wealth for this nation, never received a dime for the wealth that they produced. They were promised land, access to education, and capital. And we know that didn't happen, that for nearly 100 years after slavery ended, we continue to allow for segregation, redlining, and denial of education for Black Americans. So we still have a lot we have to make up for. And yes, it's non-binding now, but people are going to work and organize to make these binding over time.
And LZ, to you, I mean, New York is such a melting pot. There's people moving there from all over the world. If recommendations...
Like I'm saying, man, they keep sitting up there acting like recommended. Well, we need more recommendations. We need more studies. And it's the harm and everything like that. And we got to educate people with the harm that's been done. No. Nothing about this needed to be educated. No, we really don't need that. Okay? Because y'all don't need that for nobody else. That wasn't necessary for anybody else. So we're not going to sit up there and act like that's necessary for us.
For reparations were passed, do you think it will run through some obstacles if and when they decide on who might actually benefit?
Obstacles is definitely one way of describing the basic economy of it all. I mean, I get the excitement for wanting to have the commission do a study. And the commission, I believe, is going to be put together in 6 months. So you sign law today, in 6 months, you have a commission, and then they'll do the study to offer these non-binding sort of scenarios. And the reality is, during all that time, no one is talking about how we're going to pay for it. So what I suggest is that instead of using a podium and talking about, we're going to do a study, go down to Wall Street, the infrastructure that benefited from slavery that still is really, really rich today. And oh, by the way, it wasn't a U.S. issue, it was a global issue. And that's where you begin actually talking about reparations in a sensible and smart way with the money. Because we can go back and forth about whether or not it's right or wrong, but if no one has any money to pay for it, we're not getting anywhere anyway. So Wall Street benefited from slavery. Wall Street is very rich. The conversation should start with Wall Street.
All right, LZ taking it to the Wall Street. Folks on Wall Street, I like it. Mike, John, Christina, and LZ, thank you so much.
Now, it wasn't off. Yeah, go get the money. I would agree with that. Go for the money. All right. Let's not. I don't like the fact that he was like conversation. Just the word conversation just rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, anytime I hear somebody conversation, I'm that's how I get when I hear conversation. Conversate about what? Converse about what? So he's right. Okay, let's go for the money. But why we need a conversation to go for the money? I don't like the whole conversation. I don't like the whole study. I don't like none of that because they don't give studies to Native Americans, to Israel. They don't give studies to and I'm not saying nothing anti-Semitic, YouTube. They don't give studies to Afghanistan. They don't give studies to Ukraine. They don't give studies to none of these other things. Literally none of these other things require any studies. None of them. It's only when you're talking about us what we got to do is we got to talk, because the thing is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to be all like, well, hold on, what if we do this and we can sway the general public and we can turn the tides and we can change people's opinion, change people's hearts? No. We have learned this era of people have learned. This era of people aren't going to go back to that. We've tried that. Remember, we had a whole movement where we were trying to educate. We were trying to talk about, okay, this is affecting us. These are the statistics. These are this. These are that. See, what we have as our people, a flaw that our people have been trying to fix. We've been fixing it. Is going right in the right direction, but we still got to focus on making sure it goes that way. We have a thing of too many black people still intrinsically have this almost like undying love for white society. Let's just be very honest. There's too many black people who still think like, all white people can't be bad. There's got to be, we don't want to abandon you guys. There's too many black people who think maybe they're not right. Maybe they're really good. Maybe they're just like angels and maybe they just don't understand. Maybe if we teach them and educate them and show them and all of that, and maybe then they would understand what we're going through and they would stop being racist. Maybe they're playing on that thing. They're playing on that. Now, before, our people used to have that. Our people don't really have that now. Before, let's be honest. If what Kathy Hoku did today, if she did that 20, 30 years ago, it would have been a whole bunch of black people like, oh my God, yes, thank you, Lord, thank you, oh my God, Jesus. It would have been a whole bunch of black people like that. It would have been a whole bunch of black people singing and dancing in the streets and praising Kathy Hoku as a civil rights icon if this happened 30 years ago. Let's be real. I'm not saying I wasn't born 30 years ago, but I'm not saying that you all would have done that, but let's be real. It would have been a lot of black people. Okay, now you're seeing it, and a lot of black people like, no, let me look at the fine print. Hold on, black and brown, immigrants, not a check. Hold on, you gotta let's redo this. Let's redo this. This ain't right. Like, send this back. We sending stuff back now. They giving stuff to us as symbolism that would have passed 20, 30 years ago, and now we looking at it being all like, no. What you know what? Back when you was in school, and your teacher would have a red pen. Back in the day, the only red pens are when the teachers would have. Only teachers had red pens, and what the teacher would do is the teacher would circle. They would take their red pen and they would circle every single thing you did wrong on your paper. They'd be all like, nope, you forgot a period. Nope, this letter don't start with a capital. Nope, this, nope, this, nope, this. They would circle. Remember that? They would circle everything you did wrong with a red pen. That's what we're doing now. We're looking at everything. We're picking up I don't have glasses. We're picking up our reading glasses and we're taking our red pens like, black and brown, nope. People of color, nope. Affirmative action, nope. Not a check, nope. A study, nope. Immigrants, nope. No, that's what we're doing. And then we're all like, here you go. You got an F. Try again. That's what we're on. That's the type of page. That's the type of energy we're on right now. This ain't flying. We don't need no study. This society now, we're not trying to sit up here and convince anybody of anything. We know most white people don't agree with reparations, and it is not because they are ignorant. It's not because they don't know. It's not because they think, well, slavery was, that's what they say, but slavery was in the past. How is it still affecting us today? How is it still affecting you today? I don't understand. This is in the past. I don't understand, dude. Just get over it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That is not what they're on. They are on that because they are racist. They disagree with slavery because they are racist. That is it. That's the reason. Sitting up there having this study is not going to do anything, because what they're doing is they're saying, okay, well, this is why a study is necessary so we can change the polls. What's going to happen when you change the polls? See, that's the part they're not trying to get into. That's the part they're not trying to get into. So what is going to happen if the polls do change? Let's say, because majority, 77% of Black America agrees with reparations, right? Let's say it was about a good 60% of white America agrees with reparations. Then what? Y'all gonna pass it then? Nobody's talking about what's going to happen when you actually change the poll. Because if y'all saying that y'all gonna pass it when the poll changes, then that means you guys are admitting the reason why you guys aren't giving us reparations is because white people don't want us to have it. You see that? If you guys are actually going to change and give us reparations, if the national poll changes and black people, majority of black people, 7 out of 10, over 7 out of 10, say that we deserve it, then that means you guys are holding off because you're saying that white people deserve it. They're telling on themselves with that. And if you guys are saying that you guys are not going to give us reparations, even if majority of white people give us reparations, then what is the point of having this study in the first place? See, we got to get to the second part of, okay, well, what is this study going to do? Because it's non-binding. It's non-binding. That means nobody has to follow any rules. Kathy Hoku deliberately did that, and she wrote that something. She hid it in there, all the way at the bottom, non-binding. So that literally means that after they pick their people, now they have 6 months. Nothing's happening right now. Immigrants are coming over. Illegals are coming over. Foreign nationals, illegal foreign nationals are coming over here, getting money now, getting things now, getting tangibles now. And we have Foundation Black Americans, and we're specifically talking about New York, Foundation Black Americans in New York not getting anything. But you're telling me that you guys are going to start picking 6 months from now? Or you guys going to have everybody picked 6 months from now? It's always wait. Well, we need time. No, you don't need no time. You don't need any time. Time's up. They was using that hashtag. Time's up. Time is up. Cut the check. That's what we need. All right. Before y'all do that, let me give you your report card back. You got an F. You had too many blacks and brown. And you know how the teacher used to show you where you misspelled stuff? That's what we're gonna show them. You had see right here. Why you get an F? Don't cry. Why you get an F is you see right here. You put a black and brown right here. So I had to mark that. You put people of color right here. You see that? You see you put the people of color right there. Hey, look. You put the people of color right there. You see, you put immigrants right there. You put immigrants right there. That's, you know, you're not supposed to do that. So I had to scratch that off. You put possibility before check. You're never supposed to put possibility before check. So I underlined that. All right. And then you said study and you put a question mark. You're not supposed, you erase the study, put a period right there. So here you go, redo it, and it's due tomorrow. That's what we doing. You know, that's what we on. And then after that, then y'all come back. And when we agree, we all like, you know what? Good job. Check. You get an A+. You know how the teachers used to circle a little smiley face? What we're going to do is we're going to do a little S with the lines for the money sign. We're going to do a little S with the lines for the money sign. Okay, that's good. Now we can do it now. We can move on now. All that stalling, all that whole black and brown and talking like this and planting the seeds of a trick bag of a nothing burger of another future affirmative action, which is going to eventually be shut down because we know it can't work that way. It won't work that way. It won't help us, first off, and it won't work, second off. So it won't work that way. So that they're planting the seeds now. What we're doing, we're smarter now than we've really ever been. What we're doing now is we're looking at the fine print. We're just, back in the day, be honest, back in the day, they used to be happy to get anything. They used to, if they, a piece of paper that had anything, the word black on it, black folks was giving it an A+. We're not giving it an A+. You know those lazy teachers that just be marking pass on everything and they don't actually look at what the student is doing? We're the teachers that actually look at the grades. We're not just giving passes. We're looking at the grades being all like, now, hold on, where's the brown? Where's the brown at? Who's the brown? Who's brown? No, no. We looking at, we even doing that with the word African American. You put African American. I don't know if you need to be updated, but we don't do that here anymore. Like that's the page we on. So this bill that she signed, nothing. All right. Reparations don't need a study. Y'all not studying with nobody else. Y'all bill is phony. That y'all coming up there giving phony speeches. All of that. We want that check now. That check is owed now. Damn what anybody thinks. We not trying to change no damn opinion poll. We are not trying to change no opinion poll. Why is it only when it comes to us do we have a national opinion poll? Y'all don't do a national. Show me. If I'm wrong, somebody prove it to me. And I will publicly apologize if I'm wrong. Show me where America has stopped doing something that they wanted to do because of a national approval poll. Show me that. But outside of black folks, show me that. Anything they've done that they wanted to do, opinion poll be damned. Y'all get used to it. That's what America has been about all of the time. Only when it comes to black people, like, hold on now. We don't want, Robert is over there, then you have Kyle. So hold on. Let's get, everybody got to have a voice. That's the only time we hear that, oh, everybody got to have a voice now. Everybody has to agree. Everybody has to approve. Everybody has to co-sign. That's the only time we hear that. This is the only time. So no, we're not playing that. We're not playing that no more. It's over with. It's over. It's done. Kathy Hoku, you fake as hell. And all of you, what's the guy's name? L Sharpton. All of them sitting up there. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. No, ain't nobody thank you for nothing. You're not doing nothing. You haven't done anything. When Foundation Black Americans in New York actually get some tangibles, then we might reconsider your position of being fake. But until then, no. Answer is no. Brothers and sisters, we are so very close, y'all. We are so very close to that 10K. Every single video, every single live stream is really, really taking off. Is really, really taking off. I just got to say that before we wrap up. It's taking off. It's getting to the point where I'm looking like every single live, every single broadcast, this might be the one that gets us over the hump. We just got a little small hump. This one might be the one that gets us over the hump. We have 10 days. We have 10 days, y'all. To get to 200. Oh, 180 or 190. Somebody said we got 10 days, little less than 200. We can do that in 10 days. That's more than enough time. But every time you guys are in here, if you guys can please hit that like, that's very helpful. Leave a comment. That's very helpful. All right. We got all these videos now is going up. This almost 100 comments on a lot of these videos now. I can't even keep up with them. Hit that share button. I can see how many shares a video got, actually. I can't see where they're shared to, but I can see the YouTube algorithm allows me to see how shared they are. So we've been, this month alone, it's not even done. This month alone, we've had more shares than we have ever had. All right. So you guys have been smashing that share button, hitting that retweet button, putting this on your Facebook or your Instagram. You guys have been doing amazing with that. So I'm very, very thankful, very, very appreciative, very, very proud of you guys. You said you just subscribed. Well, thank you, sister. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That really does help because we got this goal to 10,000 before the New Year. So that really, really does help. Welcome. Welcome to the family. Absolutely. For the people, there's a lot of people who are new. For the people who are new, you guys can be following me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on Twitter. And the links to those are in the description. Another one, I want to give a shout out to, let me see, Devonta for the Cash App. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who supports financially, contributes financially, who contributes by watching the whole time, sharing, retweeting, all of that stuff. Thank you very much for that. Also, if you're new, you might, sometimes people have an issue with the notifications. So just check back. That's why you guys follow me on that's why I always shout my social media out, because I always put my notifications when I broadcast or go live on social media, because sometimes people say YouTube doesn't give them their notifications. So that's why I do that. All right. So for the newer people who might not know. You said you met me at the expo. Well, it was good meeting you there. I can't wait till the next event where I can meet everybody. I cannot wait till the next event. Make sure you guys hit that that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell. That helps too. Even hitting the notification bell helps. Most people who are subscribed actually hit the notification bell. Most of you guys have the notification bell hit. All right. Yeah. We beat the shadow ban. We are coming out of that. Man, the recap of this year is going to be wild. The recap of this year is going to be crazy. All right. But we definitely doing it. We definitely getting it done. And now with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all. You all have a good one.